Hello, hello. Hello, hi Sue, hi Janie, hi Sue. How many Sues will we get tonight? Hi Cheryl, hi Michelle. You're all on early. You're all ready and waiting tonight. Hi Veronica. Everyone's eager and ready. Hi Isabel, hi Del. You can see I've got my lolly jar there again in the bottom corner, lottery jar. So yes, we'll have another draw tonight. Hi Judy. If you weren't here last week for the first time we used the lolly jar, the lottery jar. Hi Fiona. Yes, I'm good, thank you. And you can see it down in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. And anyone who makes a comment gets an entry in the draw. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Chris. Hi, Karen. A couple of new names tonight. Amanda's on YouTube. So, yeah, the more you chat to me, the more entries you get in there. And at the end, I click on the get a winner, and it randomly chooses someone that tuned in tonight and gave me some company and actually talked back to me, which is nice. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking to a screen and no one's on the other end. Hi, Edel. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce your name. I hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong. Maxine, hello. Hi, Lynette. Hi, Shelley. Shelley was our winner last week. So I assume you popped in and got your packet of iron-ons. Bentley is getting into something he shouldn't have. What's he eating? Oh, excuse me. Can I have that, please? Well, he's about to go and eat it. Hi, Kristen. Hi. You just about caught me out. My girls went to Adelaide on the weekend. So the big girls went to Adelaide to visit the baby girl, Matilda, for the weekend. And they messaged me from Glenelg. So they are Edel, like that. Okay, I think I was right. And they brought me back cakes, chocolates. And I was just eating one before dinner, but they're got caramel centres, and I keep them in the freezer. And so that caramel centre just about gave me lockjaw, and I was just about stuck. He loves me, but he loves his popcorn chicken that we've just made in the fridge even more. So he figures if he takes something that he shouldn't have, I will swap it for something he really wants. But anyway, he's given up because I ignored him. Now he's coming coming in to get the next thing he can get. No, up on your bed. Up on your bed, quick. On your bed, over here. Hi Sharon, hi Carly. Oh, we've got lots of people on tonight. Hope you've had a good week. Well, he is smart, Fiona, and we even actually had to get the dog sark out for him, and she's the one that suggested the swap game, but he's learnt it very well. Yes, how to get what he wants. Hi Joe. Where is he? Under here. What are you doing, buddy? Come here. Someone wants to say hello. Come here. He did say hello a couple of weeks ago. He can say hello again. There you are. You can sit up there and say hello. In there. Look in there. Say hello.
Hi, Marilyn. Hi, Rhonda. Yes, Hague's chocolate is a bit special. Hi, Virginia. Yes. So maybe one a week for those Hague chocolates for me till I get to Adelaide again. Okay. Ian, say hello. Say hello from the ladies. Say hello to everyone. He is. So he's a Maltese Shih Tzu, but he also has some Bichon in him, which means he's totally non-shedding, which is nice for us, but it means he goes to the groomer quite often. Mummy did try and groom him a couple of times, and it was like, oh my God, I can't be seen in public. My mother's cut my hair. So it's easier just to send him to the groomer. We'll do that. All right. Well, so he thinks he's going to sit up here for the whole night now. He's quite settled. Yeah, snuggle in. That'll be right. But I'm sorry, I can't demo with you in my lap. So you're going to have to get on your bed. Up on your bed. There you go. All right. Hi, Jenny. Hi from YouTube. Hi. I have one in Heidelberg. Yeah, I didn't know that Hague's actually had shop fronts anywhere other than Adelaide. Could be wrong there. But anyway, they're a special treat sometimes. All right, so what are we showing tonight? So as promised, quite a few things. For those that have joined in, as you're coming, I'm seeing your bubbles drop down into the lottery jar. So you're all getting some entries in there. That's good. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to show you some new precuts that have come in to the shop, and we will get to the demo, but let's start with this. So I'm going to switch over. So there's been quite a few deliveries this week. Quite a few Joe sent in. So the first one is Ellie by Brenda Riddle, and she normally does beautiful, pretty sort of feminine florals and things like that. So this one doesn't disappoint. And someone, oh, he wouldn't go with Shed Guy Werner. He would be scratching at the door to come to me the whole time. He's a mummy's boy. Oh, Lynette, they have one in Sydney too. I didn't realise that. There you go. They don't have one in Hobart. Okay, so yeah, someone mentioned the other day that if you're watching this on a device or a phone, and I'm not zoomed in enough on the overhead camera, that you can just pinch and zoom in really close. So when I'm doing the embroidery and that, or any demos afterwards, if you can't see really well, just zoom in on your device. Apparently, let me just try it on mine. Oh no, I can't do it. I can't zoom in on mine. Maybe you can when on the replay. Anyway, they said they could zoom in and see it really close. Maybe you can't, depends what you're on. All right, so this is Ellie. I often wonder, I should read her blurb what this is about, who she names them after. Maybe it's grandchildren or things like that. So there's gorgeous little classic floral ditzy prints and really soft. That's a really, really soft pink background. More of a raspberry. That's a peachy pink. Can't really show you much of it, can I? When it's in a layer cake, the ginghams, diagonal ginghams, ticking stripe, all classic. Soft blue. So that would make a really, oh, and then through the greys and the apple greens. So it would make a very pretty quilt, very feminine, pretty quilt. So that's Ellie. That's in layer cakes. So we've probably got 4 of those because they come in 4s for layer cakes. The first one. Put my box down there. What else? She sent me a whole stack of 5-inch charms. So this one's called Cadence by Crystal Manning. And these are, I've actually put these all on the website, so, and I'll throw the links up in the comments afterwards. They'd be beautiful, pretty for hearts, Isabel. They would. Yeah, very pretty. Hi, Jude. New here, I think. So Cadence by Crystal Manning. So if you go to the links and I put them in the comments afterwards, you'll be able to see all the fabrics in the range. But these are 5-inch charms, which obviously we have a lot of charm square patterns available from our Simply Charmed club that work really well with these if you don't have your own design. But we've got navies, rusts, sort of a lighter blue, and lighter one again. Cream. There's a green in there. Okay, that's pretty. So peachy apricots and a minty green through. It's sort of a rusty red. It's just a little bit of an orangey red. I don't know what you call that color. More of an orange. Coming down into the apricot or the peach. That's pretty. Oh, and now we have a goldy yellow in there as well. Oh, she's got every color in there you can think of. Okay, so it's called Cadence by Crystal Manning. Interesting. Okay, and I think we had that in mini charms as well. So that would make quite a nice, fresh, contemporary, modern Hexie table runner or a cushion. Would come together quite nice. And that one. Then this one I love. This is called Flower Press by Catherine Watson. She's a new moda designer. And I really liked it in the book. Let me show you. So you can see there. Go through. That's like a real china cream on blue, sort of blue china print. And I really liked this one. So lots of navies, and then we've got the mustard and the taupey grey colour. Cream. This would look lovely in any of the Charm Square quilts, Simply Charm quilts. Okay, sort of orangey red colour again that was in the other one, into a deeper red. And then adding a touch of green. And then like a darker tree green in there. So I liked that one. Anyway, she's a new designer. A little bit different style of floral. That's called Flower Press by Catherine Watson. The next one is our favourite Camille Roskelley. And this one is called Lighthearted. So sometimes she does darker navies and things, and sometimes she does lighter, prettier sort of ranges. This one looks like it. Yeah, it's light and pretty. This is actually very soft and pretty. So little hearts, little stripes, and all over small scale floral, a larger one in through to the reds. Oh, there's a geometric. Again, it's that peachy red colour they seem to have running through a lot of their ranges at the moment. More down to more of a pink. A little zigzag cross there. Ah, little bows. That's pretty. And then through to the white background, or sort of really an off-white. And then a minty sea green, like a sea mist green. Floral again. There's the bows. And then we're starting to bring in, it's not an apple green. I don't know. It's a sort of a 1930s green, this one. So much an apple green, but it's a soft, again, a nice soft green. And then just a few of the white colorways. So again, that would make a really soft, pretty quilt in any of the Simply Charm patterns, or sorry, I'm a bit out of camera there. And yeah, really soft and pretty. So it's a really quick, simple way to make a quick, simple quilt with a charm pack, a 5-inch pack, which has 42 squares, and then one of our really quick and simple Simply Charm patterns. So that's Camille Roskelley. This one's a little bit more earthy. This is Evermore by Sweet Fire Road. Okay. And I think, no, we might only have, oh no, let's come back here. Lighthearted, that one we just looked at. We also have a fat 8th bundle there. So we've probably got 2 of those. So you can see the range of colours through there much easier. Very sweet and pretty. Very Camille when she does her softer ranges with that like sea mist green in there. Yeah, so that's really pretty. Fat 8th bundle. Over to Evermore. So this is Sweet Fire Road. And they're just a little bit more earthy colours. Although here's another little bow print there. Cream. Oh, that's a pretty design. That's a bit different. Little zigzag trellis type print. Running stitch with an occasional cross stitch in there. Strawberries. It's the bows. Little ditzy flowers. Getting into stronger peachy pinks. Oh, a large gingham. That's nice. It's quite a dusky pink. Now we've got this mustardy gold colour. And you can see all the colourways in the main print on the front as we work through them. Large florals, tone on tone. Then we've got the green. It's more of an olive green. Oh, there's the big plaid again. I really like that one. That's pretty. A little different. Okay, so that's Evermore by Sweet Fire Road. Wish I had time to make a charm quilt in every one of them because they all look nice. And then for our reproduction lovers, we've got Fluttering Leaves by Kansas Troubles Quilters. Just get that down a bit. So this is more reproduction. Well, more reproduction colours. The prints at the moment aren't totally. Yeah, they would work. They're not really traditional reproduction prints, but in the style of. So goldy tans, getting a little bit deeper. Reds, navies. Almost a burgundy here, like a dark red, really deep red. And then green, which is a bit of a sagey green sort of tone to it. Then moving a bit more olivey, and then browns and navies. So all your reproduction colours in there. That's a nice line. Yep. Okay, Fluttering Leaves, that's called. And then the last new one she sent home for me, we've got in mini charms. So these are for your modern, quite modern mini charms for your mod hexies or mod honeycombs. And we've got it in jelly rolls. So I'm just going to, oh, you can see it through the plastic, I think. So this is Sweetwater. It's called Main Street Sweetwater. And if you're familiar with their style, it's a little bit different, some of their fabrics, but it's basically green and this really, really soft mint. Here you can see the really soft minty colour. Creams and then blacks and greys. So they typically do, a lot of text and geometric type prints. I might be able to show you a bit more in here, but not really. There's their text print there. So yeah, that would make it on a linen that is sort of, where's the colour I'm looking for? That colour linen there, the putty linen, that would look really effective, really good, really nice. So it's mini charms and jelly rolls of those ones. So I'm just going to, I'll just pop them in this. I've got a few that I didn't show. Fluttering Leaves I did. So there's a few that didn't come home. I'll just pop the links in there for you. Light-hearted. Okay. All right. Okay. So that was it for the new pre-cuts that arrived. Just going to clean up all the fluff on the table. And the only other thing that I didn't have last week we showed you was we had the vintage sewing sets, which all sold, but there's more on order. So if you didn't get around to ordering those and you missed out, there's more coming. Should be a couple of weeks away. And I showed you the little vintage quick unpick last week, and this was the other version of it that I forgot to bring home. So it's a longer version. Let me do it on the overhead again. You can see it against the white. So this is like the rose burnished sort of antique rose gold, and it's just a long skinny one, but it's got all this ornate sort of engraving on it. They're really quite pretty. See those? What was that? With the Charm Club, when do we need to choose the charm pack we want to use? So on the 15th, remember on the 15th of the month, you get charged, and then you should get an email as soon as you see the charge in your account, and then you choose from that. And I will just, I think I'll just add that to that. That one there. Yes. So, and I think I gave you a sneak peek of my version last week, didn't I? I've got another one to show you. So those that interested in the Stitch Simply Charmed Club, it's every 3 months. You get a choice of 3 charm packs, so different styles. You get the new pattern written in the most efficient way I can come up with so that you can make it in a couple of hours in a day. So there's nothing too tricky in there. And you get a little surprise and you get it mailed to you. So while I've got the front camera on, I'm getting ahead of myself because last week I showed you the top of the next one. So it's, for those that are watching, it's not a surprise, but that's okay. It sort of is. And I was going to go in and quilt it, and then I thought, like I get into quilt so rarely that I've forgotten how to use my silly quilting machine or the computer and everything. And so I end up having at least 3 phone calls to my sister while I'm trying to quilt a quilt. So I thought, well, if I do 2 at once, I'll remember I'll be on a roll. And I've actually got 3 because I've got that mystery quilt to do. So it's going to be taking me a whole day in there to do it, but I'll do 2. I thought I'd do 2 at once, and I can actually fit them both on the same backing fabric, so I can load them at once and just keep going. So this is the next one, which I'm really happy with. It's not very big, but I chose. Oops, can you see it? Everyone see that? So I actually chose a Primitive Gatherings charm pack that we had for this. It was a Primitive Gatherings woven. And then you might have seen a post I put in, I think it was on a story when I was at the shop trying to decide what fabric to put with it. And I had 3 or 4, and half the people said navy and half the people said tan. Like everyone had different opinions, so I really still had no idea. I ended up going with none of them. So I ended up going with a grunge in this gorgeous sort of grays and tans and everything, and it just showed off the fabric beautifully. So it's actually not looking real true color. Oh, it's not too bad on the screen. So I think this is a really nice, probably more of a male quilt from all the pretty ones we've done. So each time I'm making the sample for the Simply Charm Club, I've got 3 to choose from, and I'm trying to choose like a different style each time so that you can see that they work in all styles of fabric and all different colorways. So that one won't be, I'm going to be so super organized because that one won't be until August, September, October, November, or even December, however it works, 3 months afterwards. So you're not the first person that said that, Kylie. Looks like it used old ties. A lot of people have said that. Yeah. They are woven, so they're a bit trickier to work with, but my points aren't perfect, but they're not too bad. They're not too bad. And I have put some hints and tips in the pattern on how to get your points much better. So that one will be after one I showed you last week, which remember was crossed charms, I think I called it, with the crosses. And see, this one I used a French General charm pack, so very classic, beautiful French General that everyone loves, and used the French General favorite with it. So you can see a totally different look for the next one. Just trying to choose a different look for each one. So this is the one that will be coming out on the 15th, but if you don't like French General or you don't like this, then there'll be 2 other options to choose from as well. So you can go and sign up to that one still anytime up until the 15th if you want to get in on that. And then we're ready to go. All right, so over to demoing. First of all, I'm going to show you that I did finish last week. So I went and sat down afterwards and stitched down all my hexies that we'd glued down last week. So that block's finished and it's good to go. I don't know what I'll do with it because I'm not making the whole quilt, but I might have a lot of little bags with blocks on the front. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that. So that one is done. And then this week I said that we would do the curved circles and some applique. So let's go to overhead. And I have to say hello to my mum if she's watching. She's actually been able to find it each Thursday night. So Mum, if you're watching, hello. I'll talk to you later. Although I'm sure you'll be watching the footy show or something tonight. Okay, so out of my little paper set, I found the little wedge pieces. You can see there, these little pieces. Okay, and then I had to separate them because remember we cut them in 3 layers. So there's 2 left there. I've already pinched one. Now the pattern calls for 10 little pieces to make the circle. Okay, so I've pre-prepared quite a few, and I just left one here. So I've put those circles on the back of my fabric glue side down and fused it down with a hot dry iron. So I've turned the steam off so I don't dissolve my paper and make it all soft. And then just trim back roughly, well, a small 1/4 inch. We don't need too much on these little pieces. And because we've got an inner curve here, I just did 1 snip on the inner curve and not all the way to the paper, just enough to allow us to get a nice smooth inner curve. Then I take my glue pen, and that is actually a little bit glary, isn't it? Not sure how I can fix that though. Okay, we'll see how we go. And I actually glued the 2 ends over first. So I put glue on the 2 ends and then folded those over. Okay, and then glue along the inner curve and just fold up the fabric to fill the edge of the paper and then push it down onto that glue. And can you see how the little snip there just allows that to come in without having, oh, you can't see it, where are we? Come in without having a little dent on the outside edge here. But there's no raw thread because I didn't snip all the way to the paper. I stopped before I got to the paper. So the fabric's coming over the edge and there's no raw thread. But it just gave it a little bit of give to spread out around that curve. And then I'm going to do this curve. Again, fold till you fill the edge. And then just push down onto that glue. And I've got my wedge glued. I'll pop my glue away. I might come a little bit on the camera for you. And let's just see if I can, I don't want low light compensation. Just trying to get rid of some of that light because it looks like it's very blown out. Let's see, is that any better? Not really. Let's go auto exposure off. Ah, there we are. That's better. That's better, isn't it? Much better. All right. So I should play with these settings more often. Okay. I think it's better anyway. You can tell me if it's better in the comments. Denise, sitting in the caravan doing hexies. That's exactly what they're for. Okay, all right. So I think that's better. That's better. It's not blowing out with the light. So I then stitch them all together like this. Okay, so basically right sides together, and I'm just stitching that short end. So I'm going to use an applique needle if I can find one. Okay, and some of my Wonderful 80 weight Deco Bob, just in a silver grey blending colour. Something stuck in that needle. Okay, knotting. And then I'm going to place them right sides together, curve going the same way, and get the top edges really even. And then I start just through the seam allowance and come up at the point where I'm going to start stitching. And that just gets my knot out of the way down here, so away from the point. And I'm going to pinch those tight together. You can fold the little seam allowances out of the way because I just want to be stitching my two folded edges. So I'm going through the 2 points, through the 2 points again, through the loop and tie a knot. And that's how I start every side. I'm nearly unthreaded. And then I'm just going to slide across and catch the 2 top folds as I stitch along those 2 edges. Now I actually have not grabbed an applique needle, so it's just feeling a little bit chunky to me. I think it's actually more like a size 8 or 9 crewel. So it's feeling a little chunky, but normally I would use an applique needle. Keep whip stitching. If your gluing wasn't 100% accurate, just make sure you ease your paper in as you go, but it's only a very short edge, so it should have been pretty accurate. I haven't got much room for it to get it really bad there in that short little space. My last stitch is going through the 2 points. So they're perfectly sewn together through the 2 points again, through the loop, tie a knot. And then because I've got such a long length here, I'm actually ending off each one. So I just come back inside a little bit through that loop, tie a knot. So again, the knot's not sitting right in the corner where it might peek out. It's out of the way. And there that is whip stitched together. Now there's 10 in the circle, so that was my 10th one. I pre-prepared all the others, you know, like they do on the shows. Here's one I prepared earlier. And then I'm going to join my circle. So I'm going to put those right sides together. And again, up through the seam allowance to the point. Get that knot out of the way. Get it even. Through the 2 points. Through the 2 points again. Tie a knot. And then whip stitch. Now when you're whip stitching, you're just catching the folds of the fabric that are folded around over the paper. You don't want to go any deeper than that. It doesn't matter if you do get the paper because the paper's staying in there, but you don't need to. You just need where it folds around the paper. And that way your stitches won't show on the front. And your needle needs to be going straight across, so perpendicular to those seams. So your needle goes straight across, so the thread on the front is the shortest distance straight across, but your thread, you'll notice on the back, is going on an angle because that's where you're moving along. Okay, through my 2 points again, tie a knot, and just come in and finish off. All right, and that is my ring done. Now in a minute, once I've done the next step, I will press that and you'll see how it's a nice, perfectly round ring. Okay, but next there is a little hexie on this one as well, and I was just going to pre-do this, and I thought I actually haven't shown you sewing hexie flowers together, and I know most of you have probably done thousands of them. I just thought I'd just go through stitching up a flower and show you how I do it. So this one here is my center, and this one here is my first petal, and I've just stitched along the center. So now I'm going to get my second petal and put it right sides together, get them nice and even, and I'm going to go into those 2 points, through the 2 points again, through the loop, tie a knot, and then I'm going to whip stitch out. Again, if my gluing's not perfect and they're not evenly matched, just ease that into fit so that when you get to the corner, your last stitch is going to go through the exact 2 points. You'll always have perfect points because the papers are flexible and you can ease them in. Second one through the points, through the loop, tie a knot. And then I just run under the seam allowance and go back to the middle, fold it out, fold it the other direction, no pesky stiff cards getting in the way, through the 2 points, through the 2 points again, through the loop, tie a knot, and then we go this direction. Now if I'd started with a long thread, I'd be able to pretty much do this whole flower with one thread, but I started with what I had left, so I'm going to get to the end of this one and then I am going to finish off, but I don't have to if I had enough thread. Through the end 2 points, through the points again, through the loop, and I've just unthreaded because it got too short. So then to finish off, I just come back in a stitch and do that double loop and a knot just to keep my knot away from the point. Okay, I'll get some more thread. Start with that knot. All right, actually I don't think I did knot it. So my next one is going, oh, that was my center. So my next one here is I'm just going to do, I've got 2 colors, so I'm going to do alternate colors. Okay, so because I'm starting afresh, normally I would go along the center and then go out and back, but I can start out here and then go along, and that will just save me one run back. So it's just because I'm starting a new thread, but otherwise we would just go out and run back. So through the 2 points, through 2 points again, through the loop. Now because I sit my 2 edges along my finger here and pinch it in really tight with my thumbnail, I can just run the needle across the top of my finger there, and it's in the right position to just take the top folds. If I wanted to go too deep, I'd be going through my finger first. So positioning it right and having total control by pinching it really tight with this thumb here against your finger. It's not flapping around. The needle goes exactly where you want it, and you know, don't take too big a stitches. My stitches, before you ask, are probably, I don't know, maybe 2 millimeters apart. So let's count on the next one and see how many I do. So I've done that. I'm going to open it up and then I'm going to fold it this way. My next stitch is going to be through those 2 points. Through the 2 points again, through the loop, tie a knot before we start. So every seam is knotted at the beginning and the end. It just gives it a little bit extra strength and security. And if you ever have damage just to one hexie and you need to pull it out, you know that all the other seams aren't going to come undone. All right, so let's count how many I do. So 1, I think I just, no, I didn't. I thought I unthreaded my needle. 1, 2, 3, so that's my 9th stitch. I don't know if that's wrong or right. I don't know if there is a wrong or right, but that's about how close I do them. And you want to be able to, when you open it up and pull it apart, you want to not be able to see any daylight. So if your stitches are too far apart, then you get daylight. And if your stitches aren't tight enough, you need a really tight stitch, and therefore you need a strong thread. That's why I use a poly thread, a fine poly thread, or a silk thread you can use. But cotton, I find, just doesn't work because you want a really tight stitch so that you can't pull apart and see daylight between those seams. Okay, and a cotton, when you pull it tight, will just, after 2 or 3 stitches, it'll just snap. Okay, so I'm ready for my next one. So I'm going to pop that there, and I'm going to be stitching out first. So my double stitch to start, and then I'm going to be stitching out. Now I can stitch both directions, but if not, just turn it around in your hand, and then you can be going right to left again. I'm still stitching towards myself, so I'm coming in from behind the 2 and stitching towards me. If I was trying to stitch this way, it's really awkward and you just don't have the same control, because to get to that little bit, I'm going to poke my finger, or you have to have it sitting up there away from your finger, and then it flops around and you don't have the same control getting it just through those edge folds. Okay, my last stitch there. And then I've actually I thought I had shredded that thread because it was a damaged thread before I started it. Thank you to Bentley, who chewed my thread. Hoping that he would get a treat in return. It's a Wonderful Deco Bob. So it's an 80 weight poly thread, Janie. Okay, so I was finishing here. Just going to keep finishing that one. And we sell it in the bobbins, in the bobbin tubes, in all the little colours you can get. But the one I've got at the moment is a reel of it in the silver, because that's probably what I use most. Now I'm running back through that seam allowance to the middle. And then I'm going to open it and turn it. Do my double stitch and continue on my way. Okay, so I won't do any more now because I just unthread that thread again. But you can see then that I would just keep going in the same way until I've done my whole hexie. So I can stitch along there, stitch out there, run back, stitch along there, stitch out there, run back, stitch along there, and I'm finished. And that's the quickest way to do a grandmother's flower block, or what this is. So it only works for the first round, and it only works for sort of those shapes. After that, you tend to just go wherever's closest next. So I just go to the next closest place if you're doing it. There's no real better way, other way, or a rule way of doing all other sort of layouts. But that is just the best way, most efficient way with the least stops and starts to do a flower, a 7-part flower. Okay, a couple of questions there. Do you sell it on the reel? We just have the bobbin tubes. We can get the reels in, but away, Isabel, I was stitching away. just try it the other way, Isabel, and I'm sure you'll find that you've got so much more control over where it's sitting and where that needle's going, and it might help you with not showing stitches and things like that. I've seen a lot of people demonstrate stitching away, and I just can't fathom how they can do it without either pricking their finger or going too deep, or it just moving around so they don't get what they want it. So please have a try and let me know next week if it was better. Okay, so the next thing we were going to do was the bunny, which is probably one of the hardest things in there because it's got all these really deep curves. Now that's not showing up very well, is it? I should have got a different colour, a darker fabric so that the paper showed up on it. Just let me see if I can get a bit more contrast. There we are. That's a bit better, isn't it? It's a bit dull, but you can see the contrast a bit more. So I've ironed it on, and now I'm going to cut it out. I like my blue scissors best for cutting out because they go exactly where you want them without pushing away, and they're nice big blades, so I can just be cutting as I turn and I can get perfect curves. Now I'm not going to do too big a seam allowance because I've got lots of tiny curves to get this around. And I can tell you now that this bit in here is going to be tricky. Okay, because it's a really sharp, deep curve. But it'll be doable. So you can see with these scissors, with the serrated blades, they just pull the fabric in as you glide around those curves, whereas my other scissors just keep pushing that fabric away. Don't go where you want. All right, so I've cut it out. Now, we do have some inner curves, so we're going to have to do some snipping. But again, we don't want to go all the way to the edge of the paper because you just want to avoid as many of the raw threads as we can. So I'm just going to start with, in these gentle curves here, just less is more. You can add more if you need to afterwards. And I'm stopping before the paper. Okay, this is going to be tricky, and this is where we're going to have to cut all the way to the paper. I'm going to decide where to go here. So I'm going to go like a V there. A V into there, if you could see that. And then we've got a sharp point here, an inner point, so we need to go all the way to the paper there. This one here, I'm just going to do a few around that curve. All right, let's see how we go. Get out our trusty glue pen. I'm going to start on these easy, gentle curves here. It's always just good to start somewhere where it feels a bit easier. And I'll just do a little bit at a time, and I'm going to use my thumb here and just let it feed around the paper onto that glue. And then I'll go down to this end here where it's nice and gentle. I'm going to pinch a little bit around these outer curves just on the very edge, and then push that all the way in to get my fabric folded over without the raw thread. And the little clip is there letting it open out, but I don't have a raw thread because I haven't clipped all the way to the paper. Now I'm coming to this little tiny point here, and this is where I'm going to use my thumbnail and do a pinch and gather, or a tool. So I'm just very tiny pinch and gather as I get around that tiny curve. I'll turn him over. We can see we've got around his back leg. We've got around there quite nicely. But if that was too hard, then you can do it with your tool. Let's do this easy bit here again, quickly. It's always good to get a rush of doing the easy bits before we tackle the more tricky bits. All right, now here's the hardest bit here, and I'm going to switch to my tools. Okay, everyone can see there. So I'm going to bring this over, and I want to drag this over as best as I can onto that glue. And you can see I've got a raw thread there, but I'm going to glue it down. And when we stitch, we'll make sure we get that down as best we can. So I'm really dragging it over onto that glue as best I can. And we're going to have a couple of raw threads down here. Let's do his ear, which again is quite a steep curve. So I'm just going to do the flat bit, and then I'll show you this one with the tools. Now when it's really tiny, you can switch to the pointy end, and you can literally just pull over one thread at a time and work really slowly. Okay, now I can go back to my thumb, or I could have stayed with the tool. Inner point, I want to get that in as far as I can to get my raw thread in there. And then I need to glue right on the edges here. Pinch and gather around his nose, or go back to your tool. Inner curve, I've done all those clips. I'll show you with the tool so you can see easier, so my thumb's not in the way. But I want to pull that over as best I can so that I'm just getting my raw thread over the edge, so it's not sticking out. See, I did all those clips there, so it's opening up for me. That's not sticking on my glue very well. So whilst this looked really fiddly, with the paper template ironed on, it is very doable. And pull it gently around that sharp curve there. Get any points out of it. And there's our bunny rabbit. He's pretty perfect. The only thing that's annoying me is that I didn't look when I put it on the fabric, and I've got an upside down birdie here. I should have had it up the right way. But that's pretty perfect. That's pretty good. I've got one little point. Oh, that's just come out and glue there. I'm glued a bit. But you can, once we're stitching it down, you can ease those points in a bit better. But there's our bunny. And my little raw threads here. I'm stitching it down on that inner curve there. It's not too bad. I can't see any, but I know that there's the potential for some raw threads where we had to clip into there. So when I stitch it down, I'm going to make sure I do a good double stitch there. Note to self, no rabbits. Denise, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. It doesn't have a tail. No. Steph, you're right. There's no tail. That's its leg. All right. So we've got it glued up. Now we need to put it onto our background. And I did bring the iron tonight. Switch it on. How long are we gone for? Oh, we've been 50 minutes. You're hanging in there with me? You good? It's taken a bit longer. All right. I didn't have the proper background fabric, but we've just grabbed this. Here's my ring. So first of all, I want to just press the ring. Let's wait for the iron to heat up a bit. So I've seen some people in the group like really struggle with these rings, and I can understand why if you're doing it with cards and you have to take those cards out. But the beauty of that leave-in paper is that it's staying perfectly round. Well, perhaps I'll zoom out a bit now so you can see it all. Where are we? Go back to there. Come in a bit. There we are. Is that better? So you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so got that nice and flat now. I haven't cut this to size, but I'm just going to make sure I get it sort of centered. So I'm just going to fold it and get a crease. And then, because it's a 10 ring, it's going to go halfway through those and it should sit on a seam line there. And I can just get my nested circle ruler, whichever size we needed, 6 inch. Oh, I can get my 6 inch, I think, in there. And line up my lines and make sure I have got that nice and round. It's not exactly 6 inches, but I can make sure it hasn't warped at all and it's a nice circle still. I don't think it has, but then I'm going to take my Roxanne's basting glue and put some little dots underneath. Okay, just reline it up. It needs to come down a bit. So I'm using this crease and I'm going halfway through that wedge and I'm using that seam on that crease there. And then I'm just going to iron that down to set that glue. So that's good to go. And I'll stitch it down when I get on the lounge later. What are you watching at the moment? I think I'm watching The Unforgotten. I started last night. It's actually been on my list. Someone gave it to me years ago. I did see it last night. It's nothing too exciting, but anyway, I'm watching it. So I do need some new things to my list. Okay, so that's my ring ready to go. My next one is my bunny and then my hexie flower, which I haven't finished, but I'm just going to make sure it will fit there. I think this is what the pattern was. Not that you have to do what the pattern was. It's going to go there. So my bunny, I'll just put him up just a little bit. And again, hold it with a thumb, a couple little dots of glue. Just a few dots. If you've got the smaller one, you'll have the little needle that you can just tuck under there. And I'm going to iron it to set that glue so that it's going to stay there for me through the stitching process. Now, I won't stitch the whole thing down, but I just want to show you, I'm just going to stitch this inner bit here so you can see how I couch down where there's any raw threads, so any inner curves where there's raw threads. So same needle, same thread. Actually, I'm going to switch to a proper applique needle now. I'm sure that other one wasn't. It just felt like it was too chunky. Okay, fine needles. That's one of our Hugs and Kisses applique needles. Fine, but with a big eye. And the same thread, so it's that blending silver, fine, strong thread, and start with a knot. And then I'm just going to start up here so I can show you. Do I need to zoom in a bit? And Bolan on SBS. Okay, I haven't watched that one. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. Oh, we'll come right in. I have to excuse my thumbs. I picked rhubarb today, and I came in and I got all rhubarb stains under my nails that I can't get out. Okay, I have to make sure I'm in close. I've got to make sure I stay on camera. So I've come up through the background and just caught the edge fold of the applique piece, and then straight down through the same hole, but just through the background. Pinch your piece down so it's not going to flap around. It is glued, but not right to the edges. We don't want to be stitching through the glue. Straight down, move along, catch the fold, give it a little tug, sink the thread into the fabric. Now I'm coming here where I know I've got raw threads. So there, I'm actually going to do 2 stitches over that little spot. If I think there's any risk of a raw thread popping out. So I'm basically couching it down. So those raw threads, I've got no way of getting out. Straight back down, move along. I've got a fine silver blending thread, and I've got very little thread on the front because I'm coming straight up and straight down. Oops, I'm off the camera, sorry. Got to look at what I'm doing and look at the camera. And so straight down, move along, catch the fold again. So all my outer curves fine. I can just stitch all the way around there. If I've got any little points sticking out or anything, I can just take my needle and bring it in. I haven't, but if I did, I could. But where I did an inner snip, so all the way to the paper there, I'm going to do a double stitch to couch. Here where we had that tight inner curve, and even here I had a couple, I'll just make sure that it is all tucked under and there's no risk of a thread coming out. When I'm stitching down my ring, if I've got any tails here where I glued over, I'll just be tucking those under. So it should be a perfectly straight line. I'll just be tucking that under with the needle as I stitch around. And that will be that block finished. Quite a quick block, really, considering I only started prepping it 20 minutes before we came on live. And yeah, and it's all together and it's all done. It's going to be pretty. I couldn't help myself to not use sort of matching fabrics this time from my Tilda scraps. It would be pretty if the whole quilt was just done in these pretty pinks and sort of tan colors, but if you remember last week, I just used any Tilda scraps, so the more the merrier. But I have seen a few people doing it like in one colorway in red work and things, and it looks gorgeous. So that is it for the demo tonight. Sorry it was a long one. I'm struggling with the owl. I wasn't going to do the owl, but I'll see, Steph. I've got the papers for it. Next week I'm going to do the coffin blocks, so maybe I'll look at the owl and I can throw that in there as well if you're okay to stick with me for a whole hour. It's dragging out a little bit, but yeah, so next week we'll do the coffin blocks and then we'll do the Dresdens and the circles. So perfect circles, because I realize there's quite a lot of circles in there. Again, feel free to share the link to this video in the Facebook, the Owl and Hare Facebook group for anyone, and if anyone's struggling there, if you see anyone struggling. Hi, Bill. Hello. You just woken up. Hi, Karen. Oh, bye, Karen. What color threads and brand did you use for the stitchery blocks? I used Presentia Pearl 16 threads. I think I showed you those a couple of weeks ago when we did that. I've got no idea what colors I used because I just grabbed what was in one of my sewing bags that was next to me, but I figured because I was doing scrappy fabrics, it was going to work. So I just made sure I threw a blue in there. Got a blue, a pink, a goldy brown, a red, and a green. So, but I don't know what colors they were. Sorry, Fiona. Just choose your fabrics first and then choose your threads to match your fabrics. Yes, so I've got a big weekend. So if you're local, I've just got to remind you that the shop's shutting early on Saturday at 12:30. If you remember, quite a few weeks ago, I mentioned that I've got the old trumpet out after 25 years or so of not playing full time. And I've had 5 weeks to practice, and we had the first rehearsal Tuesday night, and it wasn't too bad. Monday night, of my practice, I was ready to quit and back out. But anyway, Tuesday wasn't too bad. My only problem was that I discovered I haven't had to tune to myself while I've been practicing, and I thought, I better just check everything, and my tuning slide was stuck fast. So it's been to the doctor, and my whole trumpet's had a special bath and a clean and a fix up, and it's a anyway, the concert's on Sunday, so if you're down here and you want to come to the concert at the City Hall, don't listen too hard to me, but it wasn't terrible. So it's amazing how much comes back, and it's been fun bringing it out after so long and actually sitting in a full band and playing with some really good players. So we'll see how the concert goes. It's all right because as soon as I get tired, I can just mime. That's okay. They will never know. But yeah, that's why I'm finishing early on Saturday, and I'm off to practice now. There's a couple of new charts I need to practice. So I will see you next Thursday, and we'll be all done and dusted. Oh, I need to draw the raffle, the thing. You took up the ukulele, Steph. Oh, now did you send me a new friend request? Have you got a new account, Steph? I don't know, because I ignored it thinking I was already a friend with you. Listen to your concert on Sunday. Well, you can fly down and see it. I don't know. Molly's going. We'll see. And Matilda and Tess can't go, so they want her to video. So there might be a few short videos. We'll see. Kit for the hearts behind me. No, there's not, Fiona. There's not. We have put together the backgrounds before and just blues, but there's not actually a kit for the whole thing. You did send me a friend request. Okay, well, I'll accept it. Okay, you must have started a new account. I've got to draw the winner though, don't I? Let's not forget to draw the winner. Okay, here we go. And the winner is, and I can never see it, it's too small, Karen Lindner. Karen. So shoot us a message and we'll send you a pack of shapes to play with. So either, email Joe or send us a private message with your address, and you are the lucky winner. Thank you for visiting and commenting and saying hello and and interacting and saying hello. And we will see you all same place next week and ready for the next block. Or if there's anything else you want me to show you, feel free to do that. Okay. Okay, that's about it, I think. This will go up on replay, so if you're watching on replay, sorry you missed out on the competition, but feel free. I hope you get a few hints and tips that help you along the way, and share it with anyone else if they need to. Yes, it'll be a big weekend, Isabel, but that's okay. I'm going from a 5-year-old's birthday party Friday night to oldies and boldies playing on Sunday. All right, bye all.